Epilepsy is surprisingly common. 1 in 100 people live with epilepsy, which means living with taking daily medication for their epilepsy and living with the threat of being blindsided by a seizure at a moment's notice. And yet, if you really ask around, people don't talk about their life with epilepsy, and it's important to put it in the shop window, and that's what Purple Day is all about. Yeah, sometimes from the very beginning that some people might have a more tricky time. Maybe they've had a tumor, or maybe they've had a head injury, maybe they've got additional needs. But there are lots of people out there with otherwise normal lives and normal brains. And no matter what we do, medicines in different combinations and different doses, it just won't work for them. And that's where alternate treatments are needed.
And what sort of alternative treatments are available for NHS patients whose seizures aren't controlled by drugs alone then?
Epilepsy brain surgery is always an option. But then we've got additional things like diet, treatments, and stimulators that can be used to control people's seizures.
Okay. And how does living with uncontrolled epilepsy affect people's day-to-day lives?
Yeah, so I mean, the seizures are the headline acts, but actually it's the time in between the seizures that can be particularly grueling as well. So people often report problems with fatigue, with sleep issues, well-being, anxiety, low mood. This is a neurochemical explosion in the brain that's causing these seizures, and with it can cause a lot of problems with mood disorders and anxiety. And then you add in the side effects of medicines on top, and it becomes quite a challenge. So, I mean, it's easy to imagine how missing days for appointments or missing days for seizures could affect things. But even that day-to-day concentration, the motivation for homework, the amount of sleep you might need, all of those things lead to people being undereducated and then potentially underemployed afterwards.
What would your hope be going forward in terms of epilepsy, in terms of people's knowledge, people's awareness, things like that? What would your hope be for things like Purple Day?
If people could take an interest and think about that person that they share an office with who has epilepsy and think, would I know what to do if they had a seizure here? Or if they're running a sports team, would I know what to do? And go and find a resource like Epilepsy Action, the charity, and go read up about that. I think that would be a really good thing.
Are there any is there any hope for any sort of changes for epilepsy on the horizon at all at the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, there are so many different causes of epilepsy, but we are making particular inroads. Rare genetic epilepsies are really targetable either by specific medicines or gene therapies that can change things around. And there are children undergoing gene therapy for rare genetic epilepsies here in the United Kingdom, with plans to move that into adults in the not too distant future. So gene therapy is not coming for the average adult in a clinic near you yet, but picking off these as examples of where we can bring research into the clinic room is really exciting.